Hi, Brother Nashi. How are you? Please post my story as anonymous. I am a South African woman and I am in trouble. I have been looking for help all over the place and I feel as if I am cursed. There was one pastor who once prayed for me, and after he had been praying for me for nearly 3 weeks, he had a terrible accident. He did not die, but he hit a cow whilst he was traveling on the road at night. I felt so sorry for him because of the way that his car was damaged. Even as for me, the time that I was trying to be prayed for, whenever I would try to close my eyes, I will feel and I would see dead people walking around me, telling me that if I continue praying, they were going to strangle me to death. I am a woman that is aged 46 years old. I got married to my blesser after I had dumped my baby daddy because he was just useless to me. He was unemployed. He was always broke. He expected me to date other men so that we can go out and groove over the weekends. It was just too much for me. And I told him that I had met a man who was a Nigerian and he was going to take care of me, and I did not want to share my love with him anymore because he could not provide anything but his sperms. I met my husband, the Nigerian. It was in the year 2007. I was only 27 by then. I was just working at this other supermarket and I was working as a till operator. Then I met a Nigerian man. He was an older man who seemed to have a solution for all of my problems. When I met him, we were even having problems with electricity at our house. He got everything sorted out within 1 week. Even my mom, who had once told me that she did not want me to date any foreigner, when this happened, my mother said, I now know why it is a good thing for your daughter to get married to a man, even if the man is a foreigner, but he has money. He can provide for you and for your daughter, and you will go to bed with a peaceful mind, knowing that your daughter will always be financially stable. I was now the breadwinner in the family. So everything changed when we got married, when we were comfortable, and he told me that he had something that he was using in his business. My Nigerian blesser, he did not have those big businesses. He just sold soccer jerseys and he also sold clothes that he would buy from China, but these were second-hand clothes that he would get from China as well as from Dubai and America. He had people that were working for him. There were other Nigerians that would come and restock the clothes from him, and he would be just sitting in his office counting the money. But he was not like that ultra rich. He then told me that there was another business that he wanted us to do together that he had been doing all along, and this was why he had gotten married to a South African woman, which was me, and I did not know by the time when we started dating. He said that I was supposed to reach out to people, mostly poor families in the townships, especially in the squatter camps. Those desperate relatives. If you have your relative that is sick, if we found you, we will tell you that instead of you burying your deceased, how about you do cremation and we will offer you 20,000 for you to give us some of the ashes. At first, when he told me this, I was tipsy, but I became sober. And I said, what are you trying to tell me? I can't do such a thing. What if I get arrested? He then said to me, no, you are never going to get arrested because we would have been given these ashes without forcing that person to give us these ashes. Besides, who is ever going to know that we have been given the ashes. And I asked him, what are you going to do with these ashes? And he told me that he has to send those ashes back to Nigeria because they use the ashes to create money. I said, no, I am not going to do such a thing. I don't want to be arrested. And he said, okay, it's fine. It means that we are going to suffer. I thought that he was just joking with me. Since he had money, I knew that he had money, but my brother, the way that poverty entered into our home. There was a time when I could not even afford to go and buy diapers for my baby because of the way that we were so broke and poor. He kept on coming to me and he would have these long discussions with me saying, if you want us to return to normal where we used to be, we have to do this. We have to do this, my love. That was when we moved from the place where we were staying. We went to stay in Bedford View. That was where the ritual started. We had a room which we kept all the ashes that we would have bought from the people. And at night, I would hear him praying. He would be praying in his language. And I was the one that was responsible for collecting the ashes from the relatives that I knew were very poor and they had their sick relatives. And this is how I used to find people that had sick relatives. I would go and wait at the entrance of hospitals, the big public hospitals. And when people were coming out of the hospital, I'll act as if I am just giving them transport. Along the way, I had to quickly speak with that person that I would have picked up, getting to know that person. And usually, because of this other necklace that he had given to me, the necklace will make that person to be open with me, to tell me about their sick relative. The first time around, when I asked this other woman from this other location, she was poor. She had her old mother that was at the public hospital. She was old and she was sick. I started being friends with her. I would invite her to our house and I would give her some piece jobs. She was so happy because she was not working at that time. She then told me that she did not even have any idea where she was going to get the money for the burial. And it was the opportunity to tell her that it was far much better for her to do a cremation. She refused and she said that it was against her family tradition. There was no one that had been burnt after they had died. And I told her that it was far much better and it would save her a lot of money. So she finally agreed. This woman, when she went to get her mother cremated, I was with her as if I was a relative. And after we returned back from cremating her mother's body, we returned back to our house, and I told her that she could stay with me whilst she was still mourning for her mother. I did this because I wanted the chance to steal the ashes. I stole the ashes and I gave it to my husband. This woman asked me what she was going to do with those ashes because she was scared of keeping the ashes. And I said, no, it's fine. You can leave them here. There is no problem at all. So she left me with her mother's ashes. Me and my husband, what we did was sneaking. We had a braai. After we had our braai, we took those ashes and we mixed it with the ashes that we had returned with after the cremation, and we swapped the ashes. Later on, I told her that if she did not want to keep the ashes, what she was supposed to do was that she would go and throw it in the ocean. And she laughed and she said, yes, I want to go to Cape Town and do it even in Durban, but I don't have the money to go there. And I said, I am going to take you and my husband, we can take you to Cape Town. Then we went with him to Cape Town, and it was a small vacation, but she did not know that we had taken her on this vacation because we were going to make more money, and she did not even understand that we were participating in a ritual when we threw those ashes into the ocean. And the ashes that were in my house, we were still waiting to get paid so that they can be taken to Nigeria. As the years went by, we started becoming richer and richer. We started owning apartment blocks, and we even once had a warehouse which was in City Deep, and we have a lot of cars. But when you are doing rituals, it is just rituals after rituals. I don't know how many times I fell pregnant, because there was one time when I would fall pregnant, then I will have a miscarriage. There were times when I would think that I am on my period, but it will be a miscarriage. I would later on realize that it was a miscarriage. We once even started a construction, and we got a big contract. It was a private tender from another big private company, where we started building a big complex around 2015. We had a lot of money by then. One thing that I remember about that complex, we once went to that site. We went there, it was 2 a.m. in the morning, and we left my used sanitary pads there, and we also mixed sand with the ashes from the people that had died and they had been cremated. We left it there. We just scattered all over the place. And that is how we kept on getting contracts until me and my husband, we started investing in offshore accounts. So now we don't have like many businesses here in South Africa, but we just do forex trading. We invest in offshore accounts. Me and my husband, we have money, but the more the rituals that you do, the more these rituals become so satanic. There was a time when my husband wanted me to sleep with my own brother when he was drunk. I fought with my husband for nearly a year, and whenever I would refuse, I would say that we are no longer getting money like the way that we used to get the money. Then in 2016, that was when I agreed to sleep with my brother. It was something that I had never imagined that I would do. I got my brother drunk. It was on Christmas night. He was with us. My husband just looked at me when my brother was totally drunk, and it was a sign from him that it was now time for me to sleep with my brother. I slept with my brother. I was like crying as I was sleeping with my brother, because it was something that I never had intentions to do, to sleep with my own brother. I never wanted to do such a thing, but it still had to be done anyway. After sleeping with my brother, then we started to get money. There was a time when himself, he had to sleep with a very young girl, which I found out later on, and I cried on her behalf, because my husband had used her in a ritual. It was not about love, bless her, and young girl love. No, it was about rituals. These rituals, some of them, you can't mention them on YouTube without having yourself, Brother Nashi, getting banned on YouTube. They are just too satanic, some of these rituals. And having a man that is a ritualist, you feel like a beggar, because the money that you have, you can't use it like the way that you want. There are too many rules. There are times when you are told not to drive a certain car, to go around using a taxi. Yet you are someone that is a millionaire, but you are not allowed to drive your own car. So my husband, he started to get sick, but now it is worse. Starting of 2025 in January, it got so worse. My husband has had minor strokes. Since then, my husband has been talking about returning back to Nigeria, but last month, that was when he said, I can't stay here in South Africa anymore. I need to return back to Nigeria so that he can die in his village and he can be buried amongst his people. So I'm scared now because I have never been to Nigeria. He has told me a lot of stories about his village, a lot of witchcraft that he said happens in his village. And the reason as to why I am so scared and terrified, it is because in that village, there are other men that he said he joined the same cult with those men, even though they stay in Abuja, but they might end up coming to the village. What if they decide to sacrifice me? Because he said, when we go to Nigeria, you're not going to come back to South Africa until my soul would have left my body. And I am terrified because I think that I am going to become the final sacrifice. What if he has been told that in order for him to survive whatever that is happening to him, he is supposed to bring his wife that he got married to Nigeria? Then I am going to be the one that is going to pay with my own life so that he can continue living. Me and my husband, we have been having arguments. He's saying that I can't leave you here in South Africa alone. I have to take you with me to Nigeria so that the source of money, where my money comes from, they can know you, because I do not want you to return back to poverty. I just want them to know that you are my wife who have been faithful for all of these years so that you can continue to enjoy this money. I am sitting here in my house. I feel like I am about to send myself to die in Nigeria. So this is where I am right now. He said to me, if you do not go with me to Nigeria, then you need to know that once I land in Nigeria, the wealth will start to disappear. And I said, there is nothing like that. A house that we bought for cash can never disappear. I'll always have the house, the cars, because we bought them for cash. He said to me, when he dies, then the people that made him to join this cult, they will come and collect all the wealth that belongs to them. Because when you join a cult, it's like you are renting money from the cult, and when they want their money back, I said, you are joking. There is no way that they can come and collect the house. So he told me that this house, which I think is a property that I will sell when he is dead, I can't sell it because there is no one that will be willing to buy it. It can even burn to the ground on its own, because the money, it was for rental that we used when we purchased this house. And if you do not follow the rules and if the contract ends, then the cult comes back to collect whatever that belongs to it. So it's like magic money. The house that I used to think we own, it does not even belong to us. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following in the comment section. I just need advices, especially from people that are from Nigeria. If it happens that I end up being in your country, what are the chances of me never returning back to South Africa, my husband sacrificing me? I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Your strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. I'll be back with another episode.